Real talk, raw truth, raging hearts. Welcome to From the Minds of Raging Brats. Like, share, and subscribe. Hi! Welcome to From the Minds of Raging Brats. I'm Heather.
And I'm Ashley.
How was your week?
It's been pretty good. By the time this episode airs, it'll be a week past my birthday. I went and got these done and did a lot of self-care this week. Probably should have cleaned my house a little bit more, but did not. And I'll get to that eventually when I finally get a day off. How's your week been?
Long. I'm running on fumes. Honestly, I'm not sure how I'm sitting here. It's been a long one. This week, we've got an interesting blend of topics. Why do so many people, especially women, watch true crime, serial killers, or horror? And what does that say about how we process fear and control? And on the flip side, what happens when we start healing and realize that watching other people's darkness is easier than facing our own?
Yeah. Okay, so I, for one, Heather already knows this, I am definitely one of those people that's fascinated by not just true crime and not just serial killers, but the psychology that it goes into actually creating a killer. And I learned a lot of that was actually tied to my own mental health.
Yeah, I definitely think it ties in because from the time I was a very, very, very small child, like infancy, toddlerish, I was deep into horror.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I wasn't the kid that had nightmares. I wasn't the kid that freaked out. I'm the one sitting there giggling while all my friends are like crying to their mom. But as I've healed, I've got a point where I can still watch documentaries if it has horror in it, like real live horror, as much as it disturbs me. Like, I am also fascinated by how the human mind works in its entirety, not just in the serial killer and the sick and depraved, but it does happen to be a larger area of curiosity for most people, I think. But when it comes to the sensationalized horror and the fictitious horror with just a lot of blood and gore, that just really doesn't appeal to me anymore. Fiction that gets too close to real life, not really my idea when it comes to horror anyways. Not really my idea of fun.
Yeah, I will say, like, when I was younger, I loved, like, the blood and the horror and, like, the jerk reactor, the knee-jerk, like, horror and stuff like that. That used to be, like, my bread and butter. But as I've gotten older, I do definitely prefer, like, docuseries and real facts and, like, actually breaking down their mind and their childhood is more what I like these days. Like, one of the really popular things out right now, and especially because it's spooky season, is the Ed Gein series that they have out right now. I personally have not watched it. I will, probably when everybody stops talking about it. But I don't really... Again, I like docuseries. I like real facts. I do not like dramatized things and they're hodgepodging things together to make it more sensational. And that's definitely what I've heard more about that. And that's not just where I'm at right now in life of things I like. Not that there's anything wrong if you do. And I'm not saying any, like, you're in the head or anything. It's just that is not where my mentality is at.
Right. Women make up the majority of true crime audiences. Studies show it's about empathy, vigilance, and control, identifying with victims and learning survival cues. The safe fear factor.
Oh yeah, like I'm definitely one of those that I didn't realize it, a lot of the things until a couple of years ago that I was actually implementing in my life after studying. But one of the things is definitely like the vigilance. Like, for a long time, I would not wear my hair up. I do not carry a purse still to this day. And I check my locks like I know somebody is trying to break in. And it's because I think it was BTK. I watched a documentary about him, and he had said if he found an open window, he took that as permission to come inside. But if he went around and all the windows and the doors were locked, then he knew he wasn't supposed to go in there. That has always stayed with me. That don't wear your hair up when you're walking around at night. I do not do it. And it's because of I watched all these things, and it made my brain go into this is how we keep ourselves safe.
Well, that does, like I said, play into the safe fear factor. Horror and true crime give a controlled environment to process real life anxieties. Attraction to serial killers. I'm probably going to fudge this word up, but hybristophilia.
Mm-hmm.
Why some people sexualize or glorify darkness, power, danger, and unresolved trauma often plays a role.
Oh, yeah.
I would say it definitely does.
Oh, yeah. Like, especially if all you've ever known is high stress, high anxiety, like, environments. Somebody that's dangerous or uncontrollable, that as much as you might feel that adrenaline spike, your brain still goes to that's safe because that's what I know.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like how they say that as you're healing, oftentimes those that have survived in chaos, as they're healing, chaos feels like boredom. And oftentimes they will go back to the chaos because they feel bored.
Yeah.
Without it, and it takes retraining your brain to understand it's not actual boredom.
Oh yeah, it's
called peace.
Yeah, it's still something I'm working through, honestly, personally. Like, most of the time, I love the quiet. I love that nobody knows where I live, and I love that things are calm on the healed side of myself. But I do catch myself being like, fuck, I'm bored. I know how to have a good time, and I have to be like, that's not a good time. You're getting old, bitch. You don't want to run in hot fences no more.
Yeah, no, I definitely feel that. Connection to collective trauma. Women internalize fear of male violence, and watching true crime often becomes a form of rehearsed safety. Also maybe just a way for our brain to unwind, like as we are paying attention to the details, we are ourselves unwinding probably how the crime happened, especially if you're a trauma survivor.
Oh yeah.
To know to look for the cues that could have led to that.
Exactly. It goes back to trying to make ourselves feel safe, and our brains trying to rationalize that these people, these monsters are out here, so how do I prevent these things from happening to me?
Yeah, and oftentimes we don't have the answer, so we look to the answer in unwinding other people's brains.
Oh yeah.
No matter how messed up.
Oh yeah. Like, trust me, I know in my logical brain that watching true crime and serial killers is not going to help me. But in watching that, being like, oh, I would have done this. Oh, this is what you do if somebody's following you around and you feel unsafe. Like, my brain goes into these different scenarios of, if you notice weird shit, this is what we do.
Yeah.
And especially because, like, I know now this isn't the normal way to grow up. I used to think everybody's household did this. But my mom would run drills. So, like, I knew how to get away from a kidnapper because my mom fucking staged a kidnapping where I thought was real. I knew how to get out of a home invasion because my mom staged home invasions. Like, so when as I got older, it just made sense to watch this shit and extra prepare, even though I was already paranoid. Like, it took me a long time to realize, oh, that's a trauma response. Okay.
Yeah. That's not how I should be responding in normal situation, but what's normal?
Right?
But what happens when we actually start healing? When our nervous system no longer needs that constant low-level fear or hypervigilance?
Yeah.
I don't just invite Ashley to answer this, but I invite the audience to leave it in the comments if you have an answer to this question or any of the other prompts or questions that I throw in throughout the episodes. Please feel free to drop your comments in the comments below.
Alright, so, like, for me personally, like I said, it used to be the gorier the movie, the more fucked off, the more messed up scenes it had in it, the more I liked it. But as I've gotten older, I find myself recoiling from super violent scenes and, like, actually getting scared of things, and it's not because I'm like, oh my god, this is so scary because it's happening on a screen. I'm like, what if that was my kid? What if that was my best friend? What if it was me and I did not know how to get back to my people? Like, the processing of things is much different than, well, if they get me, and oh well, but I'm gonna give them a fucking fight if they do. Like, it's a very big transition from my processing of these things than it used to be.
And I think that as you heal, you shift certain neural pathways in your brain, and then eventually you naturally start developing different sensory needs, emotional needs, whether that is in horror or anything. Like, I think that everybody will notice a shift when they start to heal in their likes, dislikes, and stuff like that, and that's normal. But especially if you come from a seriously intense trauma background and you get to a point where you've healed a lot of that, like, it really does feel terrifying. Like, now what do I do? Because I've never known life without chaos and turmoil. So what do I do with this? It makes it interesting. I will say that. When healing changes your relationship with the darkness is where we're kind of moving into this next part. As I've healed, I personally cannot watch fictional horror anymore. It's not fun or cathartic. It feels violating. It feels terrifying. But I can still handle documentaries even when they're the darkest. Actually, my mind starts the darker the psychological twist that most people do not see because of the trauma survivor. I notice all the little details sometimes when I don't even notice I've noticed the little details until I'm like Sherlock Holmesing it, reverse working, and then all of a sudden I'm like, oh, I noticed this, that, and the other thing, and then all of a sudden it just clicks for me.
Yeah.
What you can relate, though,
I think a big one of mine, again, I am fascinated by serial killers still, just for different reasons now. I think one of the main ways I knew my mental health and the way I was processing these things had changed was because I was listening to one of my podcasts about the toy box killer. And I had heard about the toy box killer when I was younger, but when I was younger, I was like, I wish a motherfucker would. Like, I wish this person would actually kidnap me. Because if he's gonna take me to a torture chamber, perfect. Not a problem. But now, I hear about these things and I'm like, oh my fucking god, what would I do? Would I have a weapon? Would I be able to get away? Would I, because my brain processes differently now. I understand I'm not the biggest and the baddest out there, and these motherfuckers got away with a lot. So I don't think I'm naturally just gonna get away now. Now I'm like, fuck. How do we make sure we can get away?
Well, and a lot of my generation, like in the young adults, we got really into the movie Natural Born Killers. And a lot of us just thought we were the new Bonnie and motherfucking Clyde.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So movies like that can also have a real dangerous psychological twist on an already tormented or traumatized mind.
Dude, when I was younger, I was like, if I'm pushed too far, just a little bit too much one way or another, I could easily become one of these people, used to be my thought process. As I've gotten older, I'm like, yeah, I could have been one when I was younger, but luckily I sought help. I did the things I needed to do, and now it disgusts and terrifies me.
Yeah. It's strange to me how I can single out and identify human emotions and their needs in other people. Like, it's like, even though a lot of the stuff in the Ed Gein show is not factual, it's sensationalized to make the story better.
Yeah.
But I do know that, but like, we read up on the facts because when I was watching it with my kid, I wanted him to know, like, what's real before we start.
I'm like, hey, some of this is fake, and this is your auntie's favorite serial killer, so we gotta get this right.
Yeah, no, he says it's also his favorite serial killer now that he's watching him, and I'm like, ooh, kid, okay.
Yeah. Yeah,
also,
there's a lot of psychology.
After, like, watching some of it and knowing facts versus sensationalized, I'm just sitting there going, man, how did nobody catch this? And I'm like, oh, it's because it was the 50s. If it had been now, sir, you would not have made it past body 1, maybe 2.
Right?
At tops, because, no, people would have been looking at you going like, you not all right in the head, sir. And you mama needs something.
Yeah, that's the big thing right there. And I think that's a part of psychology or serial killer psychology.
Also,
that a lot of people don't really. Maybe it's not that they don't realize it, maybe they just don't think about it. But how much of your relationship with your mom and your family and stuff like that really goes into making these people. They don't wake up one day and just after a perfect whatever, usually, and just be like, I'm gonna go off and fucking kill people. No, usually they have a lot of messed up things happen repeatedly, and unfortunately when that happens young, your brain can create new pathways, can create these violent tendencies, and it's not even their fault in the beginning.
Yeah, I just think that people would have recognized, first of all, the fact that he very clearly was autistic.
Oh yeah.
Like the level of autism he had, I think that he probably would have, even today where they've shifted away from titles like Asperger's and just gone with spectrum disorder, I still think they would have said, no, he still kind of fits Asperger's, bro.
Yeah, we're not supposed to say it, but that's what is going on.
Yeah, so that combined with severe trauma, and I do believe that he probably had a physically intimate relationship with his mother, whether consensually or otherwise, at a very young age, and then she then psychologically abused him thereafter.
Oh yeah, psychologically and physically. Like, she beat that kid. She definitely built the serial killer in him brick by brick. And the fucked up thing is, she thought she was helping her kids.
No. To the point where she helped her one son take out the other as the start of his spree. Not exactly a healthy dynamic. Why this happens psychologically. Healing calms your fight or flight system. Once you're not living in constant trauma mode, extra fear input becomes intolerable. True crime docs still have structure and resolution, giving the brain a sense of control and closure. Horror fiction thrives on chaos and loss of control. That's coming back to that need for chaos because that's what you've thrived in. That also, I think, comes back to people with the dysregulated or organized attachment style. I think it feeds into their, because a lot of the horror dramas are very emotionally, there's romance, there's sex, there's all these heightened emotions in the beginning because it gets a more heightened reaction when the chaos starts. So, and then, add people in with different aspects of mental and degrees of mental illness, such as BPD, schizophrenia, antisocial personality disorder, things like that you give the extra trauma kick and the extra already wasn't stable and you're just going to pull the rug from under them before they're even in toddler infancy, so their mind develops twisted.
Yeah.
Like,
I can watch a lot of horror. I can watch especially, well, I can if I have to, a lot of it nowadays. But the second it involves a child, no, I'll walk the fuck out of a movie theater. I will, because that is still part of my existing trauma. I cannot see anything bad happen to a child. I cannot think of my child being in these situations because I will start to spiral. Which never used to be the case, but it definitely can be now.
Well, and I can definitely see that. And right now, being back to full-time responsible also adds another level of, oh fuck, this is all on me.
Yes, very much
I'm very highly aware.
Yeah, especially when you're trying to be like, hey, you can't keep them in a bubble their whole life. There's laws about that, literally. So can't do that, and I would like a well-adjusted adult, because he's not always going to be my teenager, so balancing the, oh my fucking god, there's serial killers out here, and there's unsolved crimes, and there's all of these things going on, but he's 13 and I have to let him walk to school, or at least I should, and let him do some things on his own, otherwise I'm going to have a 38-year-old virgin that can't make a grilled cheese for himself, and still living in my basement. I have
or
to
Jeffrey Dahmer.
Yes!
Everybody thought he was a well-rounded individual that just was very isolated because his parents.
Yeah. I can't do that to
isolated.
my child. Huh? I can't consciously do that to my child.
Yeah, I feel that. Healing makes you crave authenticity. Real stories, real consequences, real meaning, not stylized suffering. And that's why I think for me, it's just like, I'll pass. Thanks. No, that's just not really my thing anymore. And again, it still kind of is a disconnect at times because I'm like, I used to be the kid that everybody else was sitting there screaming, and I am just. Oh my god, that's so stupid. Hey, you want to know dinner?
Yeah. Yeah, see, and I was the same way, and now it's also weird because, I've tried to give my child age-appropriate experiences through his life. He's 13 years old and he's my child. So we started watching some horror movies together, and we've watched a couple of them, like 13th Ghost will forever be one of my favorite. I don't care. There are certain ones like, The Birds. I don't care how old that one is. It's just good horror movie. But there is quite a few of them now that I knew I watched way younger than he did that I'm like, absolutely motherfucking not. It won't happen.
I think it kind of just depends on the child, because with my youngest daughter, she didn't even watch Harry Potter until she was like 14 because it was too scary for her. Harry Potter.
Yeah.
Damien, however, was watching Bride of Chucky when he was like 7, and it was his favorite fucking movie in the world.
Yeah.
He's like, let's do it, slash and dash. Come on, let's get some dinner and get in front of the TV with something gory and bloody and
Yeah. Yeah, and that's another thing. Like, I watched, like, 13th Ghost, and some of them that I know weren't rated R when I was a kid, but they're rated R now, and I'm like,
Wait, what?
you guys can't see the pump? Like, you guys can't see the microphone hanging above their heads? Like, okay, this is scary. Let's sit down and watch. Like, I can do that. But the just straight gore, like, I love House of a Thousand Corpses because I have this strong attraction to baby. And for other reasons, but it is not a movie I will sit down and watch for funsies anymore.
No,
There's
I
a point to
cannot.
watching it.
I have attempted because of male counterparts that really, really enjoyed it. I have attempted to watch that movie like 18 times. I cannot get through it. I can't get through the intro without falling asleep. I am like, this is the dumbest fucking movie on the planet. Rob Zombie, I like you, but when we're talking about this movie, please go back to the hole you crawled out of and take this movie to the farthest depths of the hole you can crawl into, because no. And I hear so many people go, it's such a good movie. It's like Pulp Fiction. People are like, it's a cult classic. I'm like, y'all fucking retarded.
Yeah, I like it. It's just not my kind of horror anymore. I'm like, I know what's coming. Lots of gore, lots of whatever. This is just like Chainsaw Massacre. Again, based off Ed Gein, in case any of the audience didn't know. Yeah, some of it. It's a very liberal adaptation, just like Norman Bates. Like, they took the pieces they wanted.
Yeah, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre and Silence of the Lambs both drew from him, but they weren't actually based on him.
Yes, exactly.
Whereas Psycho was very specifically based on him, his life, and his crimes.
Yes. Yes, it was. But again, just as you get older, as your healing changes, whatever, it really changes what you can watch happily. Like, there's a horror movie, I used to love it. It's called Mama. It used to be my favorite. Because it doesn't have a lot of gore. It is psychologically fucked, though. Like, I tried to watch it the other day. Within the first, 15, 20 minutes ago, I was like, nope, don't like this at all. This needs to shut the fuck off now and never come on my TV again. And I'm like, god damn, what's changed? And I was like, I would kill and die and live for my child. So that movie, the lack of care towards the children, really fucked with me.
You're like, I am having a psychological breakdown.
Yeah, you were doing everything I could never imagine being done to my child, especially as their mother.
Yeah, well, I try not to watch stuff like that. Although, I will say that after watching what I have of the Ed Gein, I will be going and watching the movie based on his life, which is Hitchcock. I have not watched Hitchcock, not Ed Gein's, but Alfred Hitchcock. Yeah. I intend to watch the movie Hitchcock because I have so many more questions and so many more insights into that man that I am almost more intrigued by him than known serial killers.
Hitchcock is one of those that, again, psychology played such a big part into it, because I think that if he hadn't chosen to go into the movie business, he would have gotten so bored that he ended up killing people and trying to get away with it, just to see if he could.
I'd like to know if anybody's matched his travel patterns and unsolved crimes.
That would be interesting. I'm currently mapping one celebrity's thing because somebody brought it up, and I'm like, oh, he's a serial killer. Look at that.
Yeah, I know about that one too. But I'm just saying that the characteristics are very, very clearly there. And intent and desire were very clearly there. So, I don't know. You know, they say that the biggest form of admiration is imitation, and when you admire serial killers that deeply, I don't know. I'll just leave the audience with that thought to ponder. But the more you reconnect to your body, the less you want to borrow fear from fictional worlds. And that kind of ties straight into something we've both talked about, how healing itself forces you to look at the darkness within you, because you can't heal if you're still acting like the killer's out there and never in here. So with that, we're going to transition into the accountability and facing your own darkness, and really recognizing that you can't heal when you can't take accountability and acknowledge your own bullshit.
Oh yeah. I know some of the audience, some people might think it's like a dramatization or like I'm kidding, when there was a point in time when I was like, there's a good chance I'm gonna fucking become serial killer. And that was not a joke to me. I was honestly afraid of it. That's why I started studying my own psychology. But again, I was telling you earlier, one of the reasons this subject fascinates me so much is how you can raise two people the same exact way, the same exact abuse, the same exact parents, same exact school, same exact everything.
But the thing is it's never exactly the same. That's the thing that people never factor in.
Well, yes, I know, because I've studied it more. It's because how you process it, and it is two different worlds, even if you're going through the same thing. But it fascinated me how one could become a cop, and then one could become a serial killer. And I think a lot of that is being able to take the accountability to be like, something is wrong, something feels off, and going and seeking counseling or going and talking to somebody instead of holding it and just letting it fester.
I think part of it is that, but I also think part of it is just the predisposition. First of all, I have been doing a lot of listening to people's stories of survival. And I know we've talked about this. I watch a lot of Reddit stories and stuff to listen to other people's stories of things they've gone through. And the overwhelming thing that I have noticed in abusive and or neglectful families is there is always one when there is two children. Now, if there's more, it can be a whole shit show, making it way different. And if there's only one, sometimes there is no relief because you're the only one. But I have noticed consistently doing research that in families where there are two children, that there's abusive, one is the golden child and one is the scapegoat, period. So their identities, their lives, their processing is never going to be the same because they're not living the same lives. They're living two totally different lives under the same roof with the same parents. And that is what people don't acknowledge.
Yeah, and for any of our audience members that may be curious on that or anything else, he did not grow up to become a serial killer somehow. And frankly, I wouldn't have blamed this man if he did become a serial killer, but there's a book. It's called A Child Called It. And it talks about horrendous abuse. Ooh. But in this household, the other siblings were treated like gods. But this kid was beaten, stabbed, knocked unconscious. But all the other siblings, nah. Not at all. They would never do that.
In the closet, not fed. Yeah, it was horrendous.
And he wasn't even really named. He was called Child Called It because he thought his name was It for years. And it goes to show how they could be under that same roof but living completely different lives. And a lot of times, killers are singled out by their parents for the abuse.
Yeah. Yeah. I will kind of just redirect that back to some of our previous episodes where I have talked about me and my full-blooded sibling being raised in the same house, and we are nothing alike. And when my parents were like, we just don't understand, you were raised the same. And I've had to tell them since healing, stop saying that, because first of all, no, we weren't. We went through nothing alike. First of all. Second of all, I I was shuffled between houses and trafficked and passed around like a hot potato intimate doll as a very small child. That woman never had that happen to her. Now, am I saying she never experienced
Her own trauma.
assault or any kind of intimate trauma like that or DV? I'm not saying that because I'm sure that she has had her fair share of trauma as she's grown up. But the thing is that most of the trauma that she has endured has been stuff she has put herself in a position like when people are going, don't do that. This is bad for you. This will end you up in a bad, dangerous, whatever situation. And she looks at you and goes, I'm doing it anyways. And then is like, when she realized everybody else was right. And it's like, bro, no. Meanwhile, most of the situations that I ended up in like that, I had to fight to survive on my own. It wasn't nobody coming to rescue me.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, you can't ever say, like, why did these two kids end up different? Because their experience, and even if they experience the exact same trauma at the exact same time by the exact same parents, because each person is different and your psychological makeup is different from the get-go, you're still not experiencing the situation the same.
Like, you perceive it differently, you process it differently, and fuck, some people are actually born with good coping skills and, like, things that naturally fortify them, which others are not. I was born with no coping skills, I guarantee you that.
I wasn't born with coping skills, but I was born with a resilience that at times makes me mad. Because I'm like, people are like, but resilience is what's made you not mentally break and to get through situations that would have broken many other people. And I'm like, fuck resilience and fuck you for saying it. Like, do you think that makes it okay? Yeah. It's not. Saying that is like a slap in the face to survivors. I'm sorry. I get that we are resilient and I get that some people aren't. And you know what? That's more heartbreaking to know that some people have to go through the same thing and they are irreparably fractured for life, or that they lose their life altogether. That to me seems so unjust.
Oh yeah. Like, honestly, it took me until about my early 20s to realize how differently people really processed things. And I remember being in a support group for something that had happened, but there was somebody there. She had great counselors. She had a great mindset. She was able to restructure herself and move on and get on and start helping people with things that have happened like that relatively fast. And for me, I was like, but I'm strong. Everybody calls me strong. I'm a badass. Like, what the fuck do you mean I'm still not even beginning to allow myself to process this almost a year later? But she's fine and Mary Dippity Doodah. Like, it took me a minute to be like, okay, I know people's brains are differently. I like physically, naturally, I know that. But it wasn't until then I realized how much of a difference that could make in certain things.
Listen, I feel it. I remember as early as like 6, 8 years old being in therapy, even in school, like seeing the school counselor and stuff like that. And I didn't have any real breakthroughs in my therapy and my healing until I was almost in my fucking 40s. Like, what?
Yeah.
What? It's been a little over a decade since I had a turning point in my healing. And literally barely over a decade, because 2014, 2015 is when all of a sudden everything just, it was like mentally I could not survive anymore in the space I was at. It was either something had to change or I needed to be out.
Hey, and that's the point I got to. Like, you know, there's a few other people that know. There was a long time in my life where almost every day, the second my eyes opened, I was like, you're a fucking monster. you're evil. Like, the fact you're still here is just proof God isn't real, because he would take somebody like you the fuck out. And, like, don't get me wrong, I did a lot of fucked up, horrible shit. But the way I would attack myself and punish myself was not okay. And I finally had to take the accountability of being like, if I think I'm this horrible of a person, and I'm doing these things that are cementing it in my mind that I'm a fucked off, horrible person, I need to do something. Nobody else is going to fix this. Like, am I a bad person? I need to go talk to somebody and actually figure this the fuck out. Because otherwise, I'm going to become even more of what I'm already terrified I am.
I definitely can understand that feeling. I know that with more than a few therapists, I've had to have the really real conversation about the fact that realistically, if I had not suffered some of the extreme abuse that I did, I probably would have been a sociopath, and or a serial killer. Because the level of rage and the level of control that I had over that, and the need to make people hurt, because it was fun when I was little. When I was little, it was literally fun. And I don't mean little like 9, 10, 11, 12. I mean like 2, 3, 4. Like, my dad, when he was alive, my biological father, when he was alive, he was like, we always used to think you were really not going to be okay. And I'm like, really? He's like, yeah, don't you remember when you were 3 years old and I wouldn't come out of the bedroom because he was in fucking his second wife? Wouldn't come out of the bedroom to attend to his 3-year-old daughter that was by herself, unattended. So I opened the bird cage and ripped its wings off and threw it out the door. Fly, birdie, thunk.
Yep.
And my dad comes out and his bird is like dissected by his 3-year-old. And I'm just sitting there smiling like, birdie flew. And he's just like, oh no. This is, what did we do?
Oh yeah. And see, I've always had a Captain Save-A-Ho mentality ever since I was young, and I've done enough therapy. I understand why I was like that. I understand why I can still occasionally still be like that, as recent events would show. But my thing when I was younger is, you could hurt me, I could take it. I took physical pain real well. And I took emotional, like, backlash real well at a very young age, which kind of shows what I was going through. But I became the person that, if I care about you, nobody can fucking touch you aggressively. Like, I will slit somebody's throat and watch them bleed and take pleasure in that if you fuck with my people. And I will take abuse. Or I used to take abuse very well. But it took me a long time.
No, you won't.
I used to. I don't deal with shit now. But, yeah. But it is still very much my mentality, because at a young age, it was my job to fucking save people. And it turned me very cold to understanding my own suffering. And I think that's what made it really confusing when I wanted to hurt people. Because I was like, but I don't care when people hurt me. Why do I care so much when they hurt them? Like, it took a lot of accountability to be like, you got to stop fucking doing this. You cannot save everybody.
I do know that there's still a little residual of that part of me inside, because people that I see nowadays that refuse to put in the work to heal, that are traumatized other people, like that are passing the cycle, the generational cycle down, I have zero compassion for. Like, I can be looking at them and I have to disassociate when they're talking. Literally, I have to disassociate, because if they are just like, poor me, I'm the victim, and I am like, listen, let me solve your victimhood by taking you out of the equation.
And like, I
will both be happy.
I try really hard now, and I know I seem like a bitch to a lot of people. Like, I can only deal with the victim mentality for so long before I'm like, okay, this bad thing did happen to you, and it should have never fucking happened, and that's horrendous. But
Now,
are
what are
you
you
going to
doing
get
about
some counseling? Or are you going to go take some nature walks? Are you going to put yourself in situations so you can relearn how to trust yourself? Or are you going to use this as an excuse to go off and hurt other people and be like, well, somebody hurt me? But this and this and
it?
this and that, even though I've never even tried a single fucking thing to become better. I just want to be sad and everybody baby me. Like, I can't deal with it.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. Kind of like case in point, I cheated with your man when you were together, but I justify it now that I'm, married to them years later, by saying that never happened
Or
instead of
we're
just owning
soulmates.
it.
So,
Yeah, no. But instead of just owning it, like, and then using that as like revenge for then using your child to manipulate my life by breaking up a situation that you had no part in, like, it's kind of like,
yeah.
and I guess that's where my healing really shows, because it's not like I used to be where I would like, okay, I am going to come over and you are going to meet the curb in a way that most people don't want to meet it. Now I'm just like, ew, that's giving ick vibes, bro. Your karma's going to suck. I mean, that's wow. I'm going to go over here and do another blood magic protection to make sure none of your ick can come this way.
Like, for me, I recently had a parent try to get a hold of me, and it really showed me how far I had come, because even 5 years ago, I would have been like, this is what your mama actually thought about you, and I can prove that. This is what your children think about you. This is what I think about you. And by the way, I'm going to say it in such a way that even with dementia, you're going to be thinking about this shit for years, and it'll break you down. And instead, I was like, you know what? You obviously are still living with your guilt, but I choose to live in my life the way it is now, and I do not need to hurt you at all. I hope that you don't hurt. Actually, I hope you live a great life for as long as you have it. I just want you to leave me the fuck alone.
Yeah.
And for me, I was like, oh my god, I didn't even want to hurt them. That's
Well, you can't heal what you won't own. We all project our pain somewhere, sometimes into relationships, sometimes into fascination with other people's dysfunction or crimes. Watching horror and true crime can be a psychological mirror, a safe way to observe what happens when people don't take accountability. In healing, you realize you have to stop being the victim in your own story when you've also been the villain at times. I think that that's the thing, that it's the hardest part for people that have severe trauma to wrap their mind around when they get into healing, that yes, you too have been the fucking villain. Own it. Because hurt people, and before you started healing, you were a hurt person and you were looking for people to hurt.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I think it's also, especially with BPD, it is so easy for us to split and be like, I was a wholly evil fucking monster, and now I'm light and bright and everything's great. When, no, a fully, or at least a healing person with BPD that is starting to go into recovery for it and everything else is going to be like, I was fucked up. I am getting better. Please don't push me back into being fucked up.
Yeah, BPD is its own little mental magic. It's kind of like having all of Harley Quinn's facets go through your mind at the same moment.
Yes, that is a perfect way to put it.
Like you can be looking at a person and literally like them, love them, hate them, wish them deceased, all in the same breath, and you don't feel bad about any of that.
No, like, and that's why I have to, like, a lot of people are like, why do you go quiet for, like, days? And I'm like, you said something I didn't like, and instead of blowing up this entire friendship, I'm trying real hard to be like, just because they said the fucked up thing doesn't mean they're a fucked up person, Ashley. You can't hate them. You actually like them if you would just give yourself a day or two to get the fuck over it.
Tell them they said the fucked up thing and that
Yes,
they need to own
exactly.
their fucked upness.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you said this, I don't like this, but before I do something I don't like, I'm gonna
Fix
take
your
some
shit.
time.
Yeah, I'm more of the fix your shit. That's where I probably struggle the most in healing, is learning how to be tactful. And I am getting better, but is learning how to be tactful, because once you kick in that victimhood, I'm like, listen, here's your fucking mirror.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a struggle, I'm getting better at it. I don't look at people now that do one little thing wrong and I'm like, you should be taken the fuck out. Now I'm like, you got some healing to do, and so do I. I should sit here so I don't tell you some shit that you're not ready to hear yet.
Definitely. Real growth starts when you say, that pattern was mine, that reaction was mine, that destruction also mine. Discuss how accountability feels terrifying, because it kills denial, which is another form of horror story we tell ourselves. It's another form of hiding from our true selves and our healing. Bridge the two themes explicitly. We're obsessed with other people's darkness because it's easier to dissect theirs than to look inside at our own shit. Well, guess what? The only way to truly heal is to sit with your own shit and feel every bit of it. And boy, it sucks. Please let me say it again for the fucking way back in the nosebleeds. Healing is messy. Healing is not fun. It is going to be the hardest job of your ever loving life. Also worth it.
It's gonna fucking hurt. But again, worth it.
Yeah, it sucks. Let me just repeat that. It sucks. There's no part of it that doesn't suck until you get through each lesson on the other side. And then you look back and you go, okay, that really sucked. But honestly, I didn't even know this existed when I was there. And now I'm here and I know that the sky's the limit. And so I can't even fathom where the sky is anymore. And it's kind of a trip. How accountability transforms healing. You stop needing to see pain dramatized to feel alive. You replace fascination with reflection. You develop compassion without codependence. And I'm going to try to move through this last segment really quickly because we're pulling late on time, but I'm glad, because this actually episode is going a much more in depth than I thought we would go on my sleep deprived state today. And I'm liking it. The takeaways and reflections. How awareness of darkness in the world and in self builds empathy without obsession. Bro, that one, if you are not mentally well, is literally, excuse my language, but a cunt hair's line to cross.
Oh, it's so easy. I'm in my active healing, and I have to be very careful with that myself. So,
how your healing process redefines what safe and entertaining even mean. Ask yourself, what kind of darkness am I consuming? And what kind of darkness am I avoiding? Journal. Talk to other people about the inner thoughts. Sometimes even telling somebody else that you trust the intrusive thoughts stops them in their tracks, because it's like, you just named me out loud. I am your deepest, darkest secret. How did you name me out loud? And it takes away the power. It's literally like deflating the balloon. I know it seems a really simple step, but it is a big one for your brain. Because the minute it hears it out loud, your brain doesn't even know if you're the one saying it. It just knows it's been said out loud, and now your secret is not a secret. There's no danger if it's not a secret.
Your brain might try to panic for a little bit, mine did, but as long as you use positive reinforcements and you don't go back into the I'm a fucking monster self-talk after you've done it, it's gonna get better. Do not let yourself do the negative self-talk thing, though.
And on the flip side, where are you externalizing things you need to pull inside and reflect on for your own self? Like, where are the moments where you're out here splashing your victimhood all over the world instead of sitting in silence with what's really going on inside of you and asking the questions, why do I feel the need to do this? because oftentimes it's not what you think. Like, I have given my therapist many answers to the questions that they've asked repeatedly because it always changes. The answer always changes, especially as you heal deeper. There's always going to be a deeper meaning to your healing, a deeper insight that you're going to come back around to, which is why it's a spiral, not a straight line.
Unfortunately.
Gentle reminder, accountability isn't blame. It's ownership that leads to liberation. It's saying, I did this. I'm aware. Good, bad, indifferent, ugly, whatever. I did it. It's part of me. It's part of what I did. It was part of my learning process. I own up to it. Here's what I'm doing different if it was a negative. Here's where I'm trying to do different. Here's where I'm learning to do different. All of those are valid answers. To summarize, today's episode was primarily about the fascination with fear. But healing means moving from watching the darkness to integrating it, pulling it inside of you and embracing those dark parts of who you think you are that is unlovable and unacceptable, because it's neither.
And the other side of that is fucking beautiful, man. Like, I can say as somebody that, again, I'll say again, I would tell myself, you're a fucking monster, you're evil, you're going to hurt people worse than you already have. To take in that darkness and be like, you're so pretty. I love you. You keep me safe. We don't need to be like that all the time, but I love you, baby. You got your reasons for being here. That changed my relationship with myself and my anger so much.
And for me, honestly, the things that, yes, I did all that too, but the things that for me brought me the deepest peace was learning that when you say things out loud and your brain hears them, your nervous system hears them, it doesn't know the difference. It doesn't know if that's somebody else telling you that or if it's you. So I know it sounds really stupid, and I've heard it in lots of groups and therapy tips and stuff, and I always just think it was so dumb, but it's really not. Like, there are times when I will be breaking down about something that happened to me for the 100 millionth time that I thought I was over it, and here I am back again, bawling my eyes out. But I'm learning to take a little bit of a different approach. I learned it a few years ago, but it's sometimes hard to apply when you don't embrace your own inner darkness. Is literally visualizing me at whatever age the specific triggered trauma is being triggered and hugging her and telling her, I'm here to protect you. Nobody can hurt you anymore. I got you. You didn't have anybody then, but you have me now.
Oh yeah, I definitely do that one, and I'm just gonna say my inner child and my inner teenagers are angry fucking monsters. Like, they really are, like, because I've literally done the, hey, I love you, it's okay, I'm here to protect you, and if you know I'm here to protect you, you're good. And even my inner child's like, fuck you, bitch. Well, and I'm like, okay, honey. Do we need chocolate? Chocolate helps. I buy chocolate. Like, it's not always an easy linear, like, your inner child's gonna be like, oh, yeah. Like, not if you had pass like we had pass.
I've had to go through a few phases of my inner child. I think the one that sticks with me the most is probably I was 3 or 4. I used to wear Alice in Wonderland dress, like the little girl in the commercial where the dad's doing laundry and she's a sheriff once a week because while he's washing her dress, she has him under arrest.
Yeah.
That was me. With that dress. I was Alice, and you couldn't tell me otherwise.
Yeah.
But even with the abuse that I had been through at that point, I was still so innocent because, as fucked up as this is, all of my abuse was tied to people that were supposed to love me, were primary caregivers. And so for me, I was very innocent still because in my mind, the bad things that were happening to me were not bad things because they were
done by
love from the
somebody you
people
love.
that loved me.
Yeah, and that's very common when you go through that kind of trauma at such a young age.
Because people will tell me to this day, they're like, you're very naive about certain things, or you're very innocent about certain things. And I have realized, yes, there are certain things that my brain has literally made blockades to where you cannot process anything but the innocent side of this information.
Oh yeah.
We don't accept that.
Oh
It's
yeah.
not allowed in you. You work too hard.
My mom's the same way, and a realization I've recently come to, like anybody that knows me, it doesn't matter what happens between me and my mom, I'm very protective of her. Like, I will go to prison over that woman. And I recently realized it's a lot of it is because I protect her inner child. Her inner child is still very damaged, still very hurt, still doesn't understand or hasn't processed why the people that did those things did them to her because she loved them so much. And I know she's not going to go to therapy, or at least not soon. So again, it's the Captain Save-A-Ho in me. Like, I will protect that innocent child of my mom that's inside my mom until she can figure out how to protect her damn self. Like, yes, that has a lot of conversations that she doesn't like involved in it, but I will still protect her.
I just want to let you know that as you heal, FYI, because you know very well I used to be very much Captain Save-A-Ho. Yeah. It goes away. Actually, even with parents, it goes away. You get to a point where you're like, wait. So you're telling me that I can heal and I can do all the work, but I'm still supposed to carry your trauma to get the fuck out of here with that. Either go do something about it or leave me the fuck alone. Because, yeah, I love you, but I don't have to put up with this.
Oh yeah, it's definitely got better. It's not my job to save my mom anymore. It is not, she does not put all her emotions on me, but I am still very much like, my stepdad could have a normal adult argument with my mom, and I'm like, you can say whatever the fuck you want right up until she cries, and then I got an issue.
Well, I'm just telling you that because I know that for you, especially with how, and don't get me wrong, I am loyal to a fault, but now the difference is I'm loyal to those that are loyal. Yes. If you have no loyalty to me, you don't want to meet that side of me because now I am healthy and I do understand there are limitations. And if you don't have any loyalty, I don't owe you any loyalty. So you might not want to cross that line and see where healed Heather takes that because I still have the fuck around and find out in me. Yeah. Anyways, if this episode made you think twice about your relationship with true crime, horror, or healing, share it, tag us, tell us about your takeaway. Next week, since we started opening this can of worms, I think next week our episode is going to probably center around serial killers, but not in the way you may think. Because, like I said, I have pinned down certain characteristics in many different serial killers that while psychologists and stuff are like, oh, we can't pin down these characters. Yes, there are specific characteristics you can pin down in all of them. And I think it would be good to explore that from our twisted minds.
Well then, until next week, don't forget.
Like, share, and subscribe.
And don't forget. Rage responsibly.
Bye, guys.
We're also available on Spotify. We said what we said, and we're just getting started. Thanks for listening. Now go rage responsibly. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. See you soon.